Hey family, welcome back to the channel. I have another explosive story for you today, one full of secrets, betrayal, and a whole lot of drama. But before we dive in, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss the tea. Are you ready? Let's get into it. The sound of metal grinding against metal is something you never forget, especially when it's the sound of your life falling apart in the company parking lot. I was standing in the lobby of the Mercy General Hospital, where I'd been a head nurse for 10 years, holding a tray of lukewarm coffee for my staff. "Kesha, isn't that your car?" my coworker Brenda whispered, pointing out the glass doors. My heart dropped into my stomach. I ran outside, my nursing clogs slapping against the pavement. A tow truck was backing up to my 2018 Honda Accord. A man in a neon vest was already hooking the chains to the bumper. "Wait, stop!" I screamed, waving my arms. "What are you doing? I paid the note!" The man didn't even look at me. He just chewed his gum and pointed to his clipboard. "Order came in this morning, ma'am. 3 months behind. Repossession order from the bank." 3 months? That was impossible. I gave my husband Darnell the $450 for the car note every single month. I put it directly in his hand. "There has to be a mistake," I pleaded, tears stinging my eyes as patients and doctors walked by, watching the head nurse get repoed like a criminal. "My husband pays this bill. Call him, please." The man just shrugged. "Take it up with the bank, lady." He pulled the lever. My car, my lifeline, the vehicle I used to drive to double shifts, was hoisted into the air. I watched it disappear down the street, leaving me standing in an empty parking spot with nothing but my shame. I pulled out my phone to call Darnell. Straight to voicemail. "Hey, it's Darnell. I'm probably grinding right now trying to build this empire. Leave a message." Grinding. That's what he called it. I called it sitting on the couch playing 2K while I worked 60 hours a week. I had to take the bus home that day. I sat in the back, wearing my scrubs, surrounded by strangers, crying quietly into my sleeve. I felt small. I felt stupid. But mostly, I felt confused. Darnell told me we were struggling because his parents died last year and left us with mountainous debt. He told me they had no life insurance. He told me the funeral costs were on us. I believed him. I didn't know that while I was riding the bus, he was riding around in a brand new lease I didn't know about. I walked the 4 blocks from the bus stop to our duplex. My feet were throbbing. The house was dark. Darnell wasn't home. I walked into the kitchen and saw the pile of mail on the counter. Final notice on the electric bill. Past due on the water bill. My hands started to shake. I made $85,000 a year. We lived in a modest duplex. We shouldn't be living like this. But Darnell handled the finances. He said it was a man's job. He said since I worked so hard, he would take the burden of paying the bills if I just deposited my check into our joint account. I thought I was being a good wife. I thought I was being a partner. I sat down at the kitchen table and put my head in my hands. I thought back to the funeral 14 months ago. Darnell's parents, Mr. and Mrs. Jenkins, had passed away within weeks of each other. It was tragic. I loved them. At the funeral, Darnell cried like a baby. He held on to me, sobbing into my neck. "They left me nothing, Kesha," he wailed. "They died with so much debt. The medical bills, the mortgage, it's all on me now." My heart broke for him. I wiped his tears. "We'll figure it out, baby," I promised him. And I did. I drained my savings account, $12,500 that I was saving for a down payment on a house, to pay for the double funeral. I paid for the caskets, $3,500 each. I paid for the flowers, $1,200. I paid for the repast, catering, $800. I paid for his suit. I paid for everything because he said his accounts were frozen by the probate court. For the last year, it had been a nightmare. Darnell claimed the debt collectors were coming for his parents' estate, and that if we didn't pay them off, they would come after our personal assets. "He needs $2,000 for the lawyer," he would say. I transferred it. "I need $1,500 for the settlement fee," he would say. I transferred it. I stopped buying lunch. I brought peanut butter sandwiches to the hospital. I stopped getting my nails done. I was walking around with chipped polish and gray roots because every extra dime went to the debt. I was the silent provider. I carried him. I carried his grief. I carried his bills. I looked around our living room. The TV was old, the couch was sagging. I was sacrificing everything to save him from his parents' mistakes. Or so I thought. The front door opened. Darnell walked in. He was wearing a new tracksuit, Nike Tech Fleece. Those cost about $130. And on his feet, brand new Jordans, the Retro 4s. I knew because my nephew wanted them, and they were $220. "Hey, babe," he said, not even looking at me, heading straight for the fridge. "Why you look so down, and where's the car? I didn't see it in the driveway." I stared at him. The rage was starting to boil, low and hot in my belly. "They took it, Darnell," I said, my voice quiet. "The repo man took it at the hospital, in front of Dr. Evans, in front of my staff." Darnell froze. He slowly closed the fridge door. "What? No, that's a mistake. I mailed that check." "You mailed it." I stood up. "Like you mailed the electric bill? Like you mailed the water bill? Darnell, I gave you the money. Where is it?" He turned on me, his face twisting into that familiar defensive scowl. "Don't you start with me, Kesha. I'm dealing with a lot right now. My parents' estate is a mess. The lawyers are bleeding me dry. I probably got the dates mixed up because I'm so stressed trying to protect us from bankruptcy." He hit the table with his fist. "You worry about a car, I'm worrying about our legacy. I'm out here fighting demons and you're crying about a Honda?" He was good. He was so good at flipping it, making me feel guilty for asking where my money went. "I'm sorry," I whispered, backing down like I always did. I'm tired, Darnell. I picked up 3 extra shifts next week. I just need to know we're okay." He softened immediately, coming over to hug me. He smelled like expensive cologne. Creed Aventus. That's a $450 bottle. "I know, baby, I know. We're going to be fine. Just give me a little more time. The lawyer said once we settle the estate debt, we'll be free. I just need you to trust me." I hugged him back. I smelled the cologne. I saw the new shoes. But I pushed the doubt down. I wanted to believe him. I wanted to believe my husband wasn't a monster. 2 days later, I was cleaning the house. Darnell was at a meeting with the probate lawyer. He told me not to go into the basement because he had sprayed for bugs and the fumes were toxic. "Stay upstairs, babe," he had said, kissing my forehead. "I don't want you getting sick." I was vacuuming the hallway when the vacuum cleaner died. The belt snapped. I sighed. We had a spare vacuum, an old heavy-duty one, but it was in the basement, storage closet. I hesitated. Toxic fumes? I sniffed the air. I didn't smell any chemicals. I didn't smell bleach or pesticide. I needed the vacuum. I opened the basement door. Silence. No smell. I walked down the wooden stairs. The basement was finished. Meant to be a man cave, but we rarely used it. I walked to the storage closet in the back. I grabbed the vacuum. As I turned around, I bumped into Darnell's old gym bag sitting on top of a pile of boxes. It fell over. Papers spilled out. Not gym clothes, papers. I bent down to pick them up. I expected to see old resumes or maybe sports magazines. I picked up the first sheet. It was a bank statement. But not our bank. It was First City Sovereign Bank. We banked at Chase. I looked at the name on the account. Darnell Jenkins, Jr. I frowned. I looked at the date. Last month. I let my eyes drift to the bottom line. Ending balance, $482,450. The room spun. I had to grab the wall to keep from falling. $400,000? I looked at the top of the statement. Source of funds, estate of Darnell Jenkins Sr. life insurance payout. I felt like I had been punched in the throat. He told me there was no insurance. He told me they died in debt. I shuffled through the other papers. There was a deed to his parents' house. He told me the bank took it. The paper said sold $250,000, net proceeds deposited to Darnell Jenkins Jr. He had sold his parents' house. He had collected the insurance. He has $700,000 sitting in an account while I was taking the bus, while I was eating peanut butter, while I was begging the repo man. I sat on the cold basement floor, surrounded by the evidence of my betrayal. I wasn't just a wife. I was a mark. I was a fool. I picked up the most recent statement. I needed to see where the money was going. If he had $700,000, why was my car repossessed? Why were the lights flickering? I scanned the transaction history. My stomach turned to water. Tiffany & Co., $2,800. The Ritz-Carlton Atlanta, $1,500. Saks Fifth Avenue, $3,200. BMW of Buckhead, lease down payment, $5,000. Venmo transfer, Candy Paints, $1,000. Venmo transfer, Candy Paints, $1,000. Venmo transfer, Candy Paints, $1,000. Candy, with an I. He wasn't spending the money on debt. He wasn't spending it on us. He was spending it on a woman named Candy. I looked at the dates. The Tiffany bracelet was bought on my birthday. I remembered that day. He came home empty-handed and told me, "Baby, I feel so bad. I couldn't afford a gift this year, but my love is free." I had cooked him a steak dinner that night. He gave Candy a $3,000 bracelet, and he gave me a hug. I looked at the BMW charge. He had a new car. He probably kept it parked at her place, or maybe at the office he claimed he went to. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. A coldness settled over me. It started in my toes and worked its way up to my heart, freezing everything in its path. The Kesha who cried over a repo was dead. The Kesha who worked double shifts for a liar was dead. I took pictures of every single document. I took pictures of the account numbers, the transaction history, the deed sale. Then I carefully put the papers back in the bag exactly how they were. I put the bag on the box. I took the vacuum upstairs. I vacuumed the hallway. I made dinner. When Darnell came home that night, he looked stressed. "Lawyers are killing me, babe," he sighed, loosening his tie. "You think you can pick up a shift this weekend?" I looked at him. I looked at the man I had shared my bed with for 5 years. I smiled. It was a sharp, dangerous smile, but he didn't notice. "Actually, Darnell," I said, stirring the pasta, "I have good news. My auntie in Chicago, she's sick. She sent me a little money to come visit her. I can cover the fee." His eyes lit up. "For real? That's a blessing, babe. Transfer it to the joint account?" "I will. Tomorrow." I didn't transfer it. Instead, I called my brother, Marcus. Marcus isn't a lawyer. Marcus is a locksmith. And Marcus knows people. "I need you to look something up for me," I told him. "Find out who owns the house we live in." See, Darnell always told me he bought this duplex before we met. He said the mortgage was in his name, so I didn't need to worry about it. I just paid the utilities and the groceries. 10 minutes later, Marcus called me back. "Kesha," he said, his voice confused. "Darnell doesn't own that house. His name isn't on the deed." "Who owns it?" I asked. "It's owned by an LLC," Marcus said. "Jenkins Holdings, LLC." "Okay," I said. "Who owns the LLC?" Marcus did some clicking. "Kesha, you do." I dropped the phone. "Me? I owned the LLC?" Then I remembered. 5 years ago, when we first started dating, Darnell told me he was starting a real estate company, but his credit was shot. He asked me to sign some incorporation papers as the registered agent to help him get started. I signed a stack of documents without reading them because I loved him. I thought I was helping him build his dream. Turns out, he put the house in the LLC's name to hide it from his creditors back then. And because I was the only one with good credit, he listed me as the 100% owner of the LLC. He probably forgot, or he was too arrogant to think I'd ever check. He had been paying the mortgage from his secret stash, or maybe not paying it at all. But the house, legally, belonged to me. I had the house. I had the evidence of the $500,000 theft. And I had a plan. I waited 1 week. Darnell told me he was going to a real estate conference in Miami for the weekend. "It's a big opportunity, babe," he said, packing his Louis Vuitton duffel bag, which he claimed was a knockoff, but I now knew was real. I might find a way to clear all this debt. I packed his bag for him. I ironed his shirts. "Have fun," I said. "Bring home a win." As soon as his Uber pulled away, I went to work. First, I called Marcus. "Come over. Bring the drills." We changed every lock on the duplex: front door, back door, basement door. Then I called the bank. Not our joint bank, his bank. See, Darnell is lazy. He uses the same password for everything: his birthday and his mother's name. I logged into his First City Sovereign account from his iPad, which he left at home. I didn't transfer the money. That would be illegal. But I did download every single statement for the last 2 years. Then I looked at the beneficiary section. It was blank. I left it blank. Then I went shopping. I didn't go to Ross. I didn't go to TJ Maxx. I went to the dealership where my car was held. I paid the $1,500 to get my Honda back. Then I drove to a print shop. I printed the bank statements on large 24 by 36 poster boards. I printed the transaction history, highlighting Candy Paints and Tiffany & Co. I printed the deed to his parents' house. I blew them up huge. I went back to the house. I took his clothes, the Nike Techs, the Jordans, the custom suits, and I put them on the front lawn. But I didn't burn them. That's cliche. I set up a free yard sale. I put a sign up: "Cheating husband's stuff, free to a good home. Take it all." Within an hour, the neighborhood was picking him clean. A teenager walked away with his PS5. An old man took his golf clubs. It was beautiful. Then I decorated the inside of the house. I taped the poster-sized bank statements on the walls, in the living room, in the kitchen, in the bedroom. I turned the house into a museum of his lies. Balance, $482,000, was taped over the TV. Candy Paints, $1,000, was taped to the fridge. Tiffany bracelet was taped to the bathroom mirror. I sat in the living room sipping a glass of wine, waiting. He wasn't supposed to be back until Sunday, but I had sent him a text. "The basement flooded. The storage boxes are ruined. I think I saw your gym bag floating." I knew he would panic about the hidden statements. He caught the first flight back. It was 11 p.m. when I heard the Uber door slam. I heard him running up the walkway. He tried his key. It didn't work. He jiggled the handle. Kesha, open the door. The key is stuck." I walked to the door and opened it calmly. I was wearing my best dress, the one I bought for our anniversary that we never celebrated. "Kesha, what the hell is going on? Where are my—" He stopped. He looked at the lawn. It was empty. His clothes were gone. "Where is my stuff?" "Come inside, Darnell," I said, stepping aside. He rushed in, frantic. "The basement. Did you save the—" He stopped dead in the hallway. He saw the first poster: Estate of Darnell Jenkins Sr., $500,000. His face went gray. He walked into the living room. He spun around, seeing his secrets plastered on every wall. Candy Paints, BMW, the Ritz-Carlton. He turned to me, his eyes wide with terror. "Kesha, baby, listen, I can explain. This isn't what it looks like. I was holding it for the family. I was investing it." "Investing it in candy?" I asked, sipping a glass of wine. Investing it in a BMW I've never seen? Investing it in $1,200 shoes while your wife takes the bus? I was gonna surprise you, he stammered, sweating now. I was building it up so we could retire. I didn't want you to worry. You watched me cry, Darnell, I said, my voice steady. You watched me pay for your parents' funeral. You watched me eat peanut butter. You watched my car get repoed. And you had $500,000 sitting in the bank. I'll make it right. He fell to his knees. Kesha, please, I'll transfer it. I'll give you half. Just don't leave me. We can fix this. I don't want your money, I said. And I'm not leaving. He looked confused. You're staying? No, I smiled. I'm not leaving. You are. This is my house, he shouted, standing up, trying to regain control. I bought this house. You can't kick me out. Actually, I pulled the last document from behind my back, the LLC operating agreement. Jenkins Holdings LLC owns this house, and Kesha Williams is the sole member of Jenkins Holdings LLC. You put it in my name to hide it from your debt collectors, remember? You never changed it back. His jaw dropped. He realized the trap he had set for himself 5 years ago had finally snapped shut. You have 5 minutes, I said, checking my watch. The police are already on their way. I told them there's an intruder refusing to leave my property. You can't do this to me, he screamed. I made you. You used me, I corrected, and now you're evicted. Get out. Sirens wailed in the distance. Darnell looked at me, looked at the posters of his lies, and realized he had lost. He had lost the money, which Candy would surely drain once the divorce hit. He had lost the house, and he had lost the only person who ever truly loved him. He walked out the door with nothing but the clothes on his back, the same Nike tech suit he thought made him a king. I closed the door. I locked the new deadbolt. I looked around at the empty house. It was quiet. It was peaceful. I had a lot of cleaning to do. I had a divorce to file. I had a lawsuit to start for the $25,000 I spent on his parents' funeral. But for the first time in 5 years, I wasn't carrying a burden. I poured myself another glass of wine, sat on my sagging couch, and finally exhaled. I was broke, yeah, but I was free. And freedom? That's worth more than $500,000 any day.
And that is the end of today's story. Now, I want to hear from you. Do you think they did the right thing, or did they go too far? Let me know your honest thoughts in the comments below. I read all of them. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up and share it with a friend who needs a distraction. Thank you so much for watching, and stay blessed, family.